Welcome to Prophet Doctor TV. This is John Patrick, your Prophet Doctor. You know, today I'm going to kind of go off script a little bit. We're working through right now a series regarding customer service, but I really want to kind of go off script and go down a little rabbit trail today because of some feedback that I received from several different people regarding goals, and certainly customer service can be incorporated in that. But I've been getting enough feedback regarding that, enough questions about that recently. I really want to take time to do that. You know, we're almost to the end of the first quarter of this year, if you can believe that. And certainly not everyone has taken the time at the end of last year to even structure themselves and their goals for this year. So knowing that we're about to start a new quarter, I think from a time frame, this is probably the perfect time just to take a time out and focus on goals. So what I'm going to do today is adapted from a workshop that was given by one of my mentors, the late Jim Rohn. And so I'm going to ask you to do several things. This can be a little out of the ordinary, and I'm going to apologize up front that I'm going to kind of break one of the rules in social media, and that I'm going to broadcast this through Prophet Doctor television or TV, but I'm also going to put this on my podcast as a separate recording on Prophet Doctor Radio, and probably put a blurb in it even in my my personal blog, which is thesalesgazette.com, simply because it is it's a big deal. It's something right now that from a time frame is very time sensitive, and not everyone listens, reads, or subscribes to each of those things. So I have different audiences that could benefit from this regardless of where they're coming from. So what it's going to require of you is 2 fresh pieces of paper, a pen or a pencil, the ability to hit pause. So if you're driving down the road, this isn't going to be a good exercise for you. It's something you're going to want to do when you can get to a point where you're able to pause as we go along, and also where you're able to devote a good solid hour of quiet, uninterrupted time. You know, what we're talking about here is your life and goals that'll benefit you, your family, those loved ones around you, business people around you. So it's important that you be able to devote the right amount of time for this. So again, 2 pieces of paper. On the first piece of paper, number 1 through 5, and that's all you really need to do with that sheet. Just kind of set that off to the side for a minute. And then on the second piece of paper, number 1 through 25, straight up and down. And then on the back side, number 26 through 50, so that you'll have a total of 50 between the front and the back. So if you need to, go ahead and pause now, and when you get back, we'll get started on this. Alright, so now on the first piece of paper, list 5 things that you've already accomplished that you're most proud of. And that could be something dating way back in time, could be something you did back when you were in grade school, or it could be something recent. It could be business related, personal, spiritual, financial, whatever it is. But 5 things that you've accomplished that you're already proud of. So go ahead and pause, and we'll be back in just a moment from that. Okay, now on the second piece of paper that you've numbered 1 through 25 and then 26 through 50, list 50 goals that you want to accomplish in the next 10 years. Those could be big or small goals. It's not what you think that you'll achieve, but rather those things that you would want to do in the next 10 years. You know, it's kind of popular right now to talk about your bucket list, and that's what this would be. Things that you want to accomplish, in this case, not before you die, but over the next 10 years. And be creative. It could have, you know, it's kind of one of those, if I could have it all in the next 10 years, what would I want? And that could be cars, homes, experiences, people that you'd like to meet, benevolence goals, you know, ways to pay it forward or to give it back, so to speak. It could be, having an upstairs maid and a downstairs maid. It could be spiritual goals or financial, obviously, business ventures that you'd like to tap into. But again, just be creative with that. Try to complete it as soon as possible. Don't spend a lot of time trying to overanalyze it. Just let your imagination go wild. As crazy as some of it might seem, just write it down, whatever comes to you, the first 50 things. So go ahead and pause, and we'll see you here in a moment when you're done. Okay, now we'll look at each item and give them a 1, 3, 5, or 10 rating based on the number of years that you think it would take for you to accomplish those goals. So again, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. What do you think would be reasonable for you to be able to accomplish those? So go ahead and pause, and we'll see you when you get done with that exercise. All right, now look at all of the 1 year goals that you have, and of those, pick the 4 goals over the next 1 year that you believe are the most important, and transfer those 4 goals over to that sheet of paper where you wrote the 5 things that you've already accomplished or you're most proud of. So you've got lots of extra white space there. Just write those 4 goals that you want to accomplish in the next year that are most important to you. Write those down, and again, we'll pause now and give you a moment to do that. All right, we're getting there. We're almost done. Now, write down why those 4 things were the most important to you that you want to accomplish in the next year. And frankly, that's the value, that and the next question are the value of this whole exercise. The other things will just allow imagination, creativity to come out. If you're like me, what happens is you get through the first 10 things of those 50, and then you probably started to have to struggle a little bit and think a little bit and you get a little creative, and you start putting down some of the wilder things or some small things that you maybe normally wouldn't spend any time on. But the reality of it is those are the things that are probably most telling. When you get some of that other stuff out of the way, it really gets down to some of the deep-seated things a lot of times. So this ability right now just to stop and reflect, why are those the most important 4 things to you, could really be a telling thing and something to really help charge you up. So again, pause here and take the time to do that, and we'll see you in just a moment. All right, so last exercise is, and this is the crescendo, if you will. This is the big one, and this is really the value of this whole thing, is to now write down the following question, and then when you get done with that, we'll be done with the podcast or this video in this case, and then take the time to really reflect on this one and write this one down, and this is going to be the big one, so to speak. And that is, what kind of person must I become in order to achieve this list of 50 goals that I have? Could be those 4, and we understand those 4 are going to be the most important over the next 1 year. But don't give up on your 3-year goals, your 5-year goals, your 10-year goals, those other 1-year goals that you have. So you want to ask yourself that question and write the question down. What kind of person must I become in order to achieve my list of 50? Take some time to really think through that, and I think you might surprise yourself. You might learn a lot about yourself, not necessarily that you're going to like it all. I go through this exercise quite often, and I don't always like what I have to tell myself, but the reality of it is a value. So hopefully you don't mind this little rabbit trail today, but I think as we go into a new quarter, we still have lots of year left to accomplish a lot of business goals, and And so I wanted to listen and react to some of the people that I've been talking with to say maybe it's time to take a little bit of time out here and just get ourselves refocused and re-energized. So hopefully that helped. I do appreciate your viewing and being here today. Again, this is John Patrick, your Prophet Doctor. Take 2 doses of cash flow and call me in the morning.